everybody, it's me, Laura, and today we're going to be creating the 9-patch canes and a smidgen, a little bit of jewelry. Anyways, this cane is actually very fun to make, and it's not that hard. We're going to be bringing in my Sculpey clay gun here, and yes, this thing has been altered. I will put the link to the altercation of this clay gun into the description area on this video. So if you really want to go ahead and figure out how to do this, that way then it'll be easier on your hands and you'll be like, oh, yay. Trust me, it's worth it. It really is. Anyways, I took out some of my clay here, and it was my purple. I pressed it out with the square disc here, and it was a long length. And I cut this into 5 different sections. Now, once I have those 5, I also pressed out some white clay here in another, actually it wasn't another clay gun. I like to separate out my colors so I don't have to clean barrels all the time. It just makes it easier. I know this is a little bit more of an expense, but for me it's worth it because I only need the 18 discs really to do a lot of different stuff, and it works well for me. Anyway, I'm taking one length of the purple, putting a white next to it, another purple, and then I'm laying that down kind of on the surface of my tile here. Now in this section right here, I'm just placing them right on top. My favorite method though is to take 3 of them at a time, lay them down on the surface of your tile, and then put one section on top of the other. Almost like doing a stack, if you will. Anyway, and I come back in then, I do a purple, white, purple, and there you have your 9-patch cane. And this is the simplest way of being able to do it. There's no extra lines or anything. It's all by clay gun. Yay! No reduction, people. Woohoo! And really, in this regard, really there isn't much of a reduction because look, this thing is under an inch easy anyway. You don't have to really reduce. I mean, you could, but you don't necessarily have to. And even if you do, it's so well put together because of the clay gun. It's been formed perfectly. There's no muss, no fuss. I love no muss, no fuss. So right here, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to let you guys watch my hands talk as I create this checker once more, but this time it's going to be with the white where the purple is in the original, and just see the slight difference that you get when you create this 9-patch cane.
Invincible.
Okay, so after doing the simple like 9-patch cane, I really needed to bring one in where I could show putting line on it, all right? So I'm bringing in my clay gun one more time, and I'm gonna cut out 4 sections of this. And this is the blue this time. We're doing turquoise and white. And in doing so, I discovered that, as much as I love my clay gun, sometimes you need to have a little bit bigger of a cane. Yeah. So I took 4 of these sections and put them together. Now, once I had that together, that would be 1 square. The nice thing about doing it this way, again, it's precision, it's precise, and you're not going to have to really worry about it getting down to, okay, you got to get down to a 1/2 inch or what. No, you have it already. So it's just 4 sections. You're going to do this where you create these, I want to say 4 different times or 5 different times, depending upon which kind of 9-patch you want to do. If you want the 9-patch where the color is going to be on the corners, you'll need 5. And of course, if you want it more where the white is in the corners, then you'll have to have only 4. Here I'm taking out my white, and of course I've pressed out a nice long length of it, but you'll see here I'm cutting 2.5 inches length, right? And I'm going to be doing that again, 4 sections, and each of those sections, of course, you put them all together, that'll be one particular square. Now in doing this, the reason why I cut it to 2.5 inches in length, the idea here is to cut that in half. So you're going to have 1.25 inches in height, okay, when it comes to this cane. I don't like getting too much over, an inch, so 1.25 is fine. And when you have it only 1.25 inches tall, it's easier to reduce down as well. Because when you have these things where they're really long, it's harder to reduce, it's just harder to wield when you put it together even. And that's why I did that. Anyways, I'm bringing in my square here. I wanted to show you. This is my black. It has been rolled out on a number 2 setting. And I wanted to show you how that would look if you put that in there. This section is, to me, very important because it shows you the width. This is a number 3. And then the next one will be a number 4. And you can see how much thinner it's starting to get. And you can decide then what kind of line you want when you put that checker together. And there's your 5. I decided to finally go with, I want to say, the number 3 setting. The 2 was too thick. I didn't want it that thick, and I didn't want it to diminish the squares themselves. So that's what I decided to go with. But here's the thing. The other reason for that too is that you need to find a happy medium between your line. So the 3 was thick enough so it would show up and it wouldn't diminish as I reduced it down. And it wasn't too thick that it would overwhelm the color. Anyway, from here, I'm bringing in some of that black, and I've cut it where I'm cutting each side, okay? And I'm putting it on 2 sides of my blue square here. I'm going to do this to all 5 of the squares, or 4, whichever, patch you decide to do. And I'm cutting it precisely. Now, the reason for this is because of the corner. I want to make sure I have a precise corner. Now, the one thing I did also notice in doing it this way, I could have lightly used my rolling pin, my acrylic roller, to go over the original color square to make sure it was all solidly a square. Now, lightly, not very heavy-handed, but lightly. But you can see here, this is how I'm doing it. And the reason is I want to have a nice tight corner, and in cutting it where it's like this, it works so much better. So as you can see, 2 sides, I'm doing a blue, white, and then I'll do another blue the same way, and I'll do that all the way around. Yeah. Okay, so I've attached my 2 sides with the black on each particular square of color, and you'll notice here, really when I started to reduce this down, you'll see that in just a second, that it was a little bit wonk, in the regard that it didn't seem like a clean square. And again, this is where I emphasized I should have taken my acrylic roller and just lightly kind of put that square together more with all 4 canes, with all 4 sections of color. And I didn't do that. However, it still worked out pretty decently, and I got a decent cane out of it. Now you'll notice when you put this together and you're doing it this way, there's going to be 2 sides without the black. So you're going to need to add in black on those 2 sides. But from here, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys just watch my hands talk as I let you see how I put the rest of this 9-patch cane with line all together. All right, so this is my favorite of the 9-patch, and this is called the double 9-patch cane. And I'm doing this where it's going to be all solid color. So I'm bringing in a log of lavender. It's like 1 1/4 inch in diameter there, just in case. And I'm bringing in my black clay. I'm going to roll this up in the black. This black was thinned out on my Atlas pasta machine on a number 3 setting. That's kind of the setting I was pretty much on most of the time throughout this entire video, was on a number 3. I wrap it once, and then I decided I wanted to wrap it again. I thought it might be just a little bit too thin, especially for this bulk of color. I thought that's a lot of color there in the center. And when I reduce it, my mind was thinking I need to have a little bit more. So I wrapped this one more time in my black clay on a number 3 setting again. Once I do that though, I will bring in my roller and I'll create a square log out of this. Once I have this square lavender log all formed up, I'm going to cut it into 4 sections. And I have 5 of the little turquoise and white. So we're going to use this as you might say the corners. So I'll have one and they'll all be the same size. You want to make sure each of these logs are all the same in diameter. To bring in a little bit of difference, I brought in a little red and white 9-patch, a simple one. I thought, let's put that in the center. It'll just give it a different dynamic from the blue and the white and the purple. Instead of making it just those 2 kinds of colors, I thought, let's just add in a little something different. And so that's what I did here. However, when I truly look at this particular cane, the purple with the black around it, it had a very thick line. That black was pretty dominant. And you see that more as I reduce this particular cane down. So if you want to have more of a similar line compared to the rest of the canes around it, I would suggest instead of wrapping it twice, wrap it once and see what happens when you get the cane all reduced down. I think you might like it a little bit better. All right, time to do my favorite double 9-patch of all time. Woohoo! Okay, I'm being a little bit of a nut here, but I can't help myself. Again, I'm taking those simple purple and white 9-patches. I've got 5 of these, right? I'm going to put that black on them, just like I showed with the turquoise and white, and we're going to cut them to form. And what I mean by that is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our black, and as you could tell here, I'm doing the 2 sides, I'm forming it up. I'm going to do that with 4 of these pieces. I'm going to take the other simple purple and white 9-patch. I've got 5 of them, right? I'm going to take one of those and I'm going to wrap it with black all the way around. And yes, I am doing this on a number 3 setting, okay? But I'm going to wrap one of these all the way around like I would normally wrap a cane. Now, normally here, my impatience always gets the better of me. If I really wanted to do this where I have precise corners, I would have cut this, or I would have taken that length of black, that flattened piece of black, and I would have cut it to form on each side of the cane. And I didn't do that, like I said, I am not good with patience. But do you know why? I don't think it's going to matter that much. It's this right here, a Skinner blend. This is my yellow, my pink, and my red. And yeah, it's about 1.5 inches tall. It's a big one, right? But we're going to reduce this thing down. It's going to remain a square. But when I reduce the cane, I will only reduce it down to the same diameter as the 9-patch canes that I have already developed. Now that I've gotten this Skinner blend cane, the square log, reduced down enough, I'm going to cut this in half, and then I'm going to take both of those sections and cut them in half. We're going to have 4 sections all together. Now you'll notice here I have a little bit too much yellow, and I thought, no, I need this to all be kind of the same look. If you need to develop more of this cane just to make sure you have enough, make sure that when you create the Skinner blend, it's all about the same when it comes to where that gradual red to yellow happens, all right? Once you have that, you're going to bring in this is going to be your center. The checker that has been wrapped all in black, make that your center. I'm placing the yellow towards. You could place the red if you want. I like the yellow. I don't know. It seems to me like it's much more cool. That's just me, okay? Anyway, I'm going to place that on all four sides. I'm then bringing in my checker with the black on the two sides, the other four sections, and I'm going to place those into the corners. Once I have this all put together though, I'll then bring in my black and I'll wrap this on my number 3 setting. So the black will be on a number 3 setting because I want it to be the same as the lines inside of the actual cane itself, because we did this all on a number 3. However, that said, once I got this thing together, and it's big. This is a big cane. For me, it's big. I mean, I know there are a lot of other people who put canes together. Oh my gosh, this is nothing, right? Well, to me, it's kind of big. And once I put it together, I thought, wait a minute. You know, that black on the outside is going to reduce down and it's not going to have much left, right? Okay. I wanted to have a little bit more of a black around it, kind of more of a line. So what I did was I took this cane and I wrapped it again on a number 3 setting. I wanted a little bit more black around it because here's the thing. This is the double 9 patch, right? You could take this particular cane, reduce it down, and add in, oh, I don't know, another Skinner blend or another log and create another 9 patch so long as you have 5 of these or 4 of these, whichever you want. This thing could just keep going on into infinity. And you're like, oh my gosh, it never stops. And I'm like going, I know, right? But remember, almost like Natasha's, you could do this so many times over and eventually it'll just be like, what was that again? Because it has gotten reduced down so many times. So remember, when you create this 9 patch, you know, the double works. I don't know if you would get it so much once you go past, oh, I don't know, 3 or 4 times where you could really tell what you have. But this cane is a lot of fun to create. So once more, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys just watch my hands talk as I reduce down this cane. And then once I get this reduced down, let's go ahead and have a little fun and create maybe a fun little jewelry piece using this cane. Okay, I couldn't get away from doing at least one pendant piece. And I had really, if truth be told, I had a lot of scrap clay left over. I mean, and I'm talking literal mud, okay? There wasn't much to do with this. So I reduced this thing down and, you know, reduce it down to where you like it best. I like mine generally, an inch and under when it comes to my canes because it's easier to work with. And I like the precision you get or the detail you get when you get them down to this much smaller size. So anyways, I'm taking this down. I'm going to eventually cut this thing in half. And to me, when you take the 9 patch down, like see, look, I got 3/4 of an inch. You take it down to this size and you cut it. Oh, I just love this. I just love the look of it. It's so much fun, right? And then I'm going to bring in a little bit of my mud clay. And trust me, I really did get a lot of mud from just developing some of these canes. Sometimes you do. Anyways, yeah, 3/4 of an inch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to form that teardrop. I'm going to press it flat onto my tile plate here. And then I'm going to cut slices from my cane and cover this form. Now, you'll notice here, I placed that, as the tile people would say, on point. I don't like going where it's a straight square onto whatever I'm creating. I do this because for me, it gives it more of a diamond look and it's more interesting to look at. So if you're looking at cutting these squares and like, okay, I'm going to place this down onto my cabochon or whatever, I really do suggest placing them on point, not in a square formation, but on a point formation. Another thing to keep in mind as you're laying these slices down onto your cabochon is when you go to cut them off, and see, I didn't have a clean slice there right up there on that side. It's okay, because really what you're doing here is you're trying to get these where you place them down, the nice part of those slices onto the cabochon, and then cutting them to the actual form themselves. So if they wrap around a little bit, use your blade to cut into the piece, and use it to also, like right there where I cut it in and I took the little bit off, that's fine. And then just conform it to that form, and you'll have a nice finished cabochon using the 9-patch cane. Now here I'm bringing in my eye pin, and you guys knew I was going to put a hanger in this. This is going to be a pendant, right? But watch me. See that? I kind of like hook it in. You know, it makes me think of fishing when I was a kid. You had to hook them in all, and I always hated doing that. Oh, you know. But anyway, I brought the eye pin and I embedded that into this pendant piece that I've got going, because this is a pretty hefty piece, and I did not really want to go ahead and back this so much. You could lay down a piece of black and make it a nice finished piece in the end. But I just wanted to kind of, no, let's just do an eye pin, get it done. And then I brought in my black clay, and I don't know, part of me was like, I love this, I could go with this, but let's go ahead and make a little snake, add in some black, and do a little bit of a three-dimensional thing for this particular pendant that I'm creating. So from here, really guys, I'm going to go ahead and let you just watch my hands talk as I finish off this pendant using my 9-patch cane. All right, so this is the end result in creating my 9-patch canes along with my small pendant. Please use this for study and reference. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I'm always wondering what you're thinking. Otherwise, I am sending out my biggest hugs to each of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.